So Namaskar. So today's topic I will be discussing about geodata processing using Python. So I will be giving just an overview of a subset of Python programming language that is used for geodata processing. So here I assume that you have some experience with any of the programming language, not specifically with Python. So if you have some exposure to any of the programming language, it will be quite easy for you to follow the codes. So before starting, I will give a brief introduction to Python. So what is Python? So Python is an interactive object-oriented programming language. So Python is not compiled language; it is an programming language. So it supports all programming paradigms, right from the functional programming to object-oriented programming or procedural programming languages. Python combines remarkable power with very clear syntax. So Python's Python has a remarkable power. Plus, all the statements are written very clearly. It has very clear syntax. So all the programmers need to follow the same writing syntax. So Python actually, apart from the standard distribution, Python is available. There are many different distributions of Python are available. So Anaconda Python is one of the most popular distribution apart from the standard distribution. So I will be using Anaconda Python for demonstration purpose here. So apart from Anaconda Python, we have Active Python, Win9x Python or Portable Python. These are various different distributions of Python available with us. So we will be using Anaconda Python for our demonstration. Now the next question comes, why should we use Python? What I feel is the most compelling reason for using Python is its friendliness and easy to learn. So Python is one of the most easy programming language to learn. So any new programmer, any person who doesn't have any experience in programming can learn Python very fast. So that this is the most compelling reason for using Python. Apart from this, Python is very powerful, plus as well as it is fast as well. It runs everywhere, means it runs on every platform. Either you use Windows, Linux, Mac. So Python runs on every platform. Fourth option is Python is open source. So Python is open source. So if you are interested in modifying the Python, you are welcome to do that. Python works more quickly and integrates system easily. So you can learn it quickly, and suppose your project is distributed among different people. So all the components of the your project can be integrated very easily to the system. Plus, why do we specifically use it for spatial data processing? Because there are numerous open source libraries available for spatial data processing. So you need not do anything from scratch. There are multiple libraries available on open source for geospatial data processing. So this is also one of the most important reasons why we have chosen Python for processing. Plus, Python's documentation, tutorials, and guides are constantly evolving with large community support. So you will get a lot of documentation, tutorials. And those are evolving continuously. So with these, you can easily learn more about Python. So if you face any problem, so there are many forums so which will help you in going ahead. So next we'll go for geospatial. What is geospatial data? I think in your previous lectures you must have studied about geospatial data. Just for the sake of completeness, I will be just giving you a brief. I will just be briefly reviewing what is geospatial data. So this geospatial data is data about the objects that have a location on the Earth's surface. So like location of a building or temperature in different parts of country. So these are examples of geospatial data, because these all things have a location on the earth, like location of building. So building has a specific footprint on the earth, so it's latitude and longitude. Plus like temperature can be of specific region. So data about the object that has a location on the earth's surface. Plus geospatial data that combines location information with the attribute information. Like with the properties of the object, its location information also is attached. So then it makes it geospatial data, like temperature. So temperature may be a number. But when we associate the location with the temperature, so like we say that the temperature of Dehradun is 35 degrees centigrade. When we are attaching location information to the attribute information, then it becomes geospatial data. So types of geospatial data. So broadly, geospatial data is divided into two parts: vector data and raster data. So vector data, data that is represented on the Earth's surface using their latitude and longitude. So this is called vector data. So any data that can be represented as a point, line, or polygon, that is called a vector data. So vector data is represented. Vector data represents objects on the Earth's surface using their location information like latitude and longitude. Like for example, we can take polygon representing the boundaries of a country is an example of vector data, or lines representing roads or rivers, or points showing the location of any city or some like maybe some weather station. So these are vector data. So vector data is of, it can be point data. So any a pair of coordinates latitude and longitude that represent the location of points on the Earth's surface. For example, it might be, this point might be representing a city, a landmark, or location of any drop box, etc. The next comes lines. Line are a series of interconnected points that may be those lines may be straight or otherwise on Earth's surface. For example, center of roads or rivers may be represented as a line. Then there are polygons. Polygons are a series of points that define the outer edge of a region. So this will be a closed region. So they are like a country or a city. You can represent using a polygon. So here we can see an example of, so this is the map of India, and different state boundaries of all the different states are shown using polygons. This is the introduction to the vector data. Now next comes the raster data. So raster data is a 2 or 3 dimensional array of data values such as pixels in a photograph. So raster data represents objects, variables on the Earth's surface as a matrix of values. So raster data represents objects or variables using matrices. So satellite imagery or aerial photographs are examples of raster data. So here you can see that this is an image. So if you zoom into this particular portion, this image becomes like this. In the computer's memory, all these pixels are represented as 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional matrices. Or the raster image can be a single band or multi-band. So like this, here you can see that this is an example of a multi-band raster. So here each band represents the temperature, maybe at different time of the, so this may be on the day one, the temperature of this particular city was at these locations was this, and on the next day this became this. So every band may represent time or ultraviolet or UV band. Or this also was an example of raster data. Here we can see that this is the temperature forecast for complete India. So any data that is in continuous in nature can is better represented using raster data. So now what is geoprocessing? Geoprocessing is manipulating, till now we studied the geospatial data. Now geoprocessing is manipulating that geospatial data. So manipulating the geospatial data, either raster or vector, and extracting some useful information out of that is geoprocessing. This is the geoprocessing using Python is our today's discussion we will be discussing about. So for this demonstration, I will be using this Jupyter notebook, So Jupyter Notebook is an interactive Python environment. So with Jupyter Notebook, you can write your code as you write in your notebook. So you can plot the data, visualize that, you can run step by step, save it and share it with your friends. And also I will be using this particular Anaconda Jupyter Notebook. So first for raster data processing, I will be using a library called Geospatial Data Abstraction Library, GDAL. So GDAL is an extremely popular C++ library for reading and writing spatial data. So actually, GDAL is one of the most fundamental library used for any type of geospatial data processing. A lot of commercial softwares also are based on the GDAL. They use GDAL on the back end. So there are multiple bindings. GDAL is originally written in C++, but a lot of bindings in other programming languages like Python, .NET, Ruby or Java all are also available. So, but here I will be using the Python bindings of GDAL. So GDAL library is used by many commercial softwares also. So this is a typical raster data model of GDAL raster data model. Whenever you open, so GDAL supports actually raster data can be saved in many different formats, maybe like GeoTIFF, IMG, or JPEG 2000 etc. So GDAL supports almost all of the raster and vector data formats. So whenever you open, this is a typical GDAL raster data model. Whenever you open a data set or a raster image using GDAL, so it gives you a data set. So that data set may contain different bands. It may contain, or if it is a single band image, it will contain one band. If it is, it can be a multi-band image, then it will contain different bands. Plus the geo transformation information of that image also will be stored in the data set. Now inside every band we will get an data array, so that the pixel matrices plus overview of that particular band, like at the reduced resolution, overviews at different reduced resolutions. Also images will be available. So after this, now let's start our geo processing. How do we read and write raster data using GDAL? So for that, first we need to import few packages. Like first we need to import GDAL library. So first from OSGeo is the name of the package. From OSGeo import GDAL. So with this, so we have from OSGeo we are importing GDAL, then we are importing another module OS. So these two modules are required for further processing. So with this, then we can run it. Now first of all, then I am changing os dot change directory to I have stored data in H drive new data. Inside this directory I have stored my data. So first I am changing my directory to this particular directory. Now inside this directory I have a raster file named L3NH44mm 14 dash dash some dot tiff. This is an List3 image. This is an image acquired by List3 sensor of Resource-2 satellite on 4th October 2015. So this is some part of Uttarakhand. So this image, if I open it in QGIS, so this is the image. This is some part of Uttarakhand captured by List3 sensor of Resource-2 image. So we will try to read this image using GDAL library. So here we can see that this is, if I open in QGIS, if I see its properties, it says that this is an image with, this is the width of 1151 and this is a height of 1151. This is 1151 cross 1151, a single band raster image. So now let us read this image using Python. So first I have defined a variable defining the file name. So file name I have, anyway first I have changed my directory. Now I have given the file name equal to the same file name. Now for opening the file using GDAL, so first thing we need to call GDAL.open. So GDAL.open, and then we need to pass the name of file which we want to read. So ds equal to zidal.open. This opens this particular file for reading. Now if we see this ds, now it shows that this is a swig object of type Jidal shadow. So with this we can confirm if it returns none, then it means that it was not able to read the file properly. Suppose if I change to something non-existent, then if I try to, then if I print ds, so it prints none. So it means it was not able to read the file properly because there is no file with name for it to diff. Now I'll change to the correct file. Now it has returned a data set. Now that, as I explained, I showed in the previous slide. Now it when we open a raster data file, it returns a data set. Now now suppose if we want to query what are the dimensions of that image. So we can query the dimensions. Suppose if you want to get the width of the image, so we can call ds dot raster x size. This attribute gets us the width of the image. So if I print, it says width is 1151. Similar way, suppose if we want to extract the height information, extract how many pixels are in the y direction in the image, so that we can extract using ds dot raster y size. So ds dot raster y size returns the height of image in pixels. So as we see here, it has an image of 1151 by 1151. So ds dot raster x size returns 1151, and same way ds dot raster y size returns 1151. So this way we can query the height and width of image. Now suppose if you want to get the projection information, you want to extract the projection information of the image. So for that we need to call the function. See, raster x size and raster y size were the attributes. Now there is a function called get projection. So if in dataset dot get projection returns you the projection information of the dataset. So actually because of some problem it is not able to print the coordinates. Okay, we'll continue. So we'll see. Now suppose if you want to get the geo transformation, FN transformation information of the image, so then we can get ds dot get geo transform. It returns the geo transformation information of the image. So now suppose this says this is the origin of the pixel 78.45, and these are the coordinates of the topmost left pixel, and this pixel size, it says 0.002 meters in x direction and minus 0.002 in the y direction. Now suppose if you want if you want to get the coordinates of all the corners, image has 4 corners, so you can call Jidal dot apply geo transform and pass for which particular line number and pixel number you want to calculate the real world coordinates. So Jidal dot apply geo transform, then first argument you need to pass it the geo transform information, then the pixel number and line number. So suppose topmost corner top left will be 0 0, and suppose if you go to top right, so the top right will be raster size, and y will be 0 0 only. Then lower left corner will be x will be 0 and y will be our image height, that is ds dot raster y size, and lower right corner will be height comma width. So here we are getting Jidal dot apply geo transform. With that we can get the real world coordinates of the all 4 corners of the image using Jidal dot apply geo transform. So for getting that transformation, you need to pass geotransform object and line number and pixel numbers for which you want to get the real world coordinates. Similar way, now suppose if you want to get how many bands are there in your image, whether it is single band image or multi-band image, you can call the attribute ds dot raster count. So it returns number of bands in the image. So this is our single band image. So if we do it, it should return. This is a 4-band image. So it says this is a 4-band image. Now suppose similar way, now we can read a single band raster. This was a 4-band raster. Now next we will read a single band raster and see how that matrix of the numbers, that like each pixel, what is the value in each pixel. So here I have a image with file name band2. Earlier it was a 4-band image. Now it is a single band image. So similar thing, first we need to open gdal.open, then we need to pass the file name. Now suppose similar way, now we can query raster, what is the width and height of the image and how many bands are available in the image. So if we see ds.raster x size, it returns 1151, y size 1151, and number of raster count returns how many bands are available in the image. So this is a single band image, so it returns 1. Now suppose, now if you want to get that particular, like what are the values in that band, so we want to see how the matrix representation of the image. So first we need to call on the dataset get raster band method. So ds dot get raster band, and the argument to is we need to pass the band number. Here we have a single band image, so we are passing it 1. So band equal to ds dot get raster band fetches the band 1 from the dataset. So it returns a band. Now that band, suppose if you want to, now in the, as I showed in the raster data model, so band will contain, every band will contain data, plus it might have some overviews also. Now suppose if you want to extract the data from that particular band, so we need to call band dot read as array method. So data equal to band dot read as array. So this will return us the data associated with that particular band. Now suppose if you want to see the data, so this will be a NumPy 2-dimensional NumPy array of 1 by 1151 by 1151 size. So if we see the data looks like this. So each value represents the pixel intensity of that particular cell. So like 00th pixel has intensity of 75, 71, 73 and so on. So this is an image of one. If I print the shape of this data, we'll say 1151 by 1151. So this is how the image is actually represented in the computer's memory as numbers. Now suppose if you want to visualize how the image looks, for visualizing an image we will use matplotlib. So first we need to import the pyplot module from the matplotlib. So first we will import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. Now next, for displaying an image we need to call plt dot. So first we are creating a figure of size 25 by 5. Then we are on that figure we are showing this data array. So this will show our image. As you can see, the contrast of image is very poor. So later on the visualization is not very good. So later on we will see how do we improve its visualization by changing its contrast. Now suppose this is a similar way we can change the color map of the image for displaying. Suppose if you want hot or gray, any other color map you can visualize. So there is not much improvement.
So this way we can change the color map of our image. Now suppose if you want to extract what is the maximum value of a pixel, or what is the minimum value of a pixel in this particular image. So for that we can call the function data.max. So numpy.max or numpy.min. So with that we get the maximum and minimum intensity values in this particular image. Now suppose we want to change the contrast of the image. So for that first we will use the histogram equalization method. So first let us suppose if you want to view the histogram of this particular image. So for that we need to call plt.hist, and we need to pass it an argument the array for which you want to plot the histogram, and then later on plot.show. So it returns the histogram of this particular image. It takes a bit of time. So now you can see this is the histogram of the image got generated. So here we can see that most of the pixels are lying in the range 50 to 100 only. So beyond 100, the intensity of the most of the pixels is lying in the range 50 to 100. So above 100 there are very few pixels in this. So most of the information in contained in this range only. Now suppose if we change our visualization to this 50 to 100 range only, then contrast of our image will improve a bit. So how do we change? Like we will clip the values below 50 and above 50. So now with this our actual data range will remain within 50 to 100 only. So all the values above 100 will be clipped to 100, and below 50 also will be clipped to 50. So for that how do we do? So that for that we need to same function we will call plt.imshow. Here first argument is our data, and here in the second argument that is clim. So that is clipping limit. So clipping limit we can pass 50 to 100. So with this and color map gray. So with that contrast visualization of our image will improve a bit. So now you can see that the visualization of image got improved a bit. The contrast got improved because now we have clipped our data to the portion where the most of the pixels are lying to the intensity range, where most of the pixels are lying in the intensity range which we are interested in. So this way we can read a single band or multi-band raster using GDAL. Then we can visualize it using matplotlib library. So now as after reading you can see that we have a numpy array available with us. Now on this numpy array you can do any kind of processing. Now this is a matrix is available to you. On that you can do any kind of geo processing. So after this now let us see how do we write how do we create a raster image using GDAL. So here I have a CSV file that contains a global total electron content map. This is a global total electron content map. It covers latitude from range 87.5 degree to minus 87.5 degree, and resolution in latitude is minus 2.5 degree, and it covers longitude from minus 180 to 180, and resolution is 5 degrees. And this particular image has 71 by 73. This is 71 by 73 columns. So here I have a CSV file containing the So here we can see that this is a CSV file. Here every pixel, so every value is represents a pixel of 2.5 into 5 degree. 2.5 into 5 degree, and all the pixel values are separated with comma. So this is a text file. Now we will convert this text file to a GOT for IMG image for visualization. Like because just by seeing these numbers you cannot you cannot see it visually. So now for visualization we will convert this text file into a GOT or IMG image. So here this is the pixel intensity of that particular grid. So this is the first pixel, second pixel, third pixel, so on and like this. We have 71 pixels in x direction and 73 pixels in y directions. So for this I will be using a NumPy library. So first we will import the NumPy. Then we need to define source text file. So source text file, I am defining a variable source text file is equal to techmap.txt. This is the name of my file. Then this file I will write to another image with name output raster2.tif. So after creating a GOT, this text file I will convert to a GOTIF image. So that name will be output raster2.tif. If it is available here, I will delete it. So now for creating a GOT file, first we need to create a driver for that particular format. Like for GOT, we need to create a different driver. For IMG format, it will be a different driver. So first we need to driver is equal to GDAL.get driver by name. So get driver by name, it takes one argument. There you need to give the short name of your driver. So for short name for your format, like GOTIF has the name GTIF. Like similar way, IMG format have IMG on the GDAL.org website. All the short names for all the drivers and is available. So driver is equal to GDAL.get driver by name. So it creates a driver for this particular format, for GOTIF format. So next we need to create a destination data set on which we will write the data. So for creating destination data set, now on the driver we need to create destination. So driver dot create function we need to call for creating a destination data set. So driver dot create, it takes these many arguments: destination file name, on which file you want to save the data, destination file name, then x size, width of your image, then y size, height of the image. As I explained, the size is 73 by 71. Then how many bands you want to create in your image. We have a single band image, so bands equal to 1, and data type. So data type may be 8-bit, 16-bit, floating point number, or whatever. You know a priori that my data type is of this type. So then you need to pass this argument e type equal to whether GDAL dot GDDINT6 float or something, whatever is available to you. So this way we can say GDAL dot int 16, 36 or uint 16, u32. So whatever your data type. So driver dot create, it takes 4 arguments: destination file name, width of the image, height of the image, how many bands, and data type of your raster data set. Now this way first our destination data set got created. Now we need to read the text file. So now for that NumPy has a function called np.loadText. np.loadText reads a CSV file, a comma separated file, and returns a NumPy array. So now suppose if I call np.loadText, it takes 3 arguments, or it takes more arguments, but I am passing 3 arguments: source text file, which file you want to read, delimiter, what is the delimiter in that file. So here we have a comma separated file, so we will pass delimiter as comma, and what is the data type, that whatever after parsing the file, each whatever values you will get, how to interpret that, whether this is a number, floating point number, integer, or something. So here we have uint 16. So now this is a 16-bit integer, so we are treating as integer 16. So if we see this data, now if I see the data, so it has returned us these numbers. So if I open my txt file, so here we can see that this with load text, these all data is read by our has been loaded into the data array. So data is a two-dimensional array. So it contains now all these values 35, 35, 36, these all numbers. Now if I see the shape of this data, so 71 by 73. Now this data we want to write at a GeoTIFF image. So anyway, we have created a destination data set. Now like this is a single band image. Now like while reading, we were calling destination data set dot get raster band function. So here also same thing we will call. So band is equal to destination data set dot get raster band. Now this is a single band image. So we will call, we will pass it an argument 1. So ds destination data set dot get raster band 1. So this this creates a band 1. So now on this band we need to write the data. So band dot, like there it was read array, read as array. Now here we will call band dot write array, band dot write array, and the data which we want to write on the band. So with this data will be written into the band. So this has written the data into the band. After that we need to destination data set dot flush cache and then delete this data set. So with that the data gets written into the disk. If you don't call destination data set dot flush cache, sometimes you will see that though you have written, but your image will appear black only. So it is safe practice to call destination data set dot flush cache and then assign none, close the data set. So destination data set equal to none, if you assign, it will close the data set. So this way this got written. Now suppose let us see that if the OP raster 2 image got created here. So now there is a OP raster 2 image. Now if I open it here, so this way data set got created. So same, now this same image, suppose if you want to visualize here itself, so that we can do similar way we can open and just we will change the name of the file here and visualize the image. So now our image name is, we'll call it new variable. So now I have changed the file name to OP raster 2. If I open it and see the, now it says 73 by 71 and a single band image, band ds.get raster band. Now if I read it and see it, now suppose if I see it, so this looks like this. Now if I change the color map, so this way now we have converted, but it looks black only because few pixels are only having higher value. So these are the all the pixels are lying in this range because of this the visualization is not very good. So this way we can create a raster image. This way, just writing first we need to create a driver. Then on that particular driver we need to create a destination data set. On the destination data set, then we need to get raster band. On that band, then we need to write our data. So this way we create this way we can write a single band raster. Similar way we can write multi-band raster or different format like IMG using GDAL. Now this was all about reading and writing raster data using GDAL. Now we will cover reading and writing vector data using Python. So for reading and writing vector data, though GDAL support is, but it is a bit difficult using GDAL. So there are other libraries available for easy reading and writing of vector data. So GeoPandas is one of those libraries. So GeoPandas, I will be demonstrating GeoPandas for reading and writing vector data. So GeoPanda data basics. So the primary data structure, like there was a data model, raster data model in GDAL. So the primary, similar way, the primary data structures in GeoPandas are GeoData frame and GeoSeries. So GeoData frame you can imagine as a relational data table. So GeoData frame you can assume that it is a table. So that table containing multiple rows and columns. So every row and column has a name. So that every row and column is a so GeoData frame is like a table with labeled rows and columns. So GeoSeries is one of those out of those rows and columns. GeoSeries is one of the column from that GeoData frame. Every one of the one of GeoSeries is one of the column, one of the special column from that GeoData frame. So GeoSeries contains geometry column. See, a GeoData frame might contain other attribute information, but GeoSeries is one of those columns. GeoSeries is the column which contains geometry information for that particular shape. So now let us see how do we read a shape file. For similar way, for first we need to import a GeoPandas library. So import GeoPandas. So import GeoPandas as GPD. So we are just giving it a short name GPD. So first thing is first we will import GeoPandas as GPD, then pandas required, then NumPy. So first we will be importing our required libraries. Now here I have a file, I have a shape file containing shape file of different tehsils of Uttarakhand. So this is the shape file. So this is the save file. This has the different. This contains the boundaries of different tehsils of Uttarakhand. So this shape file we will try to read using GeoPandas, and plus this particular has attribute table also associated with this. So this attribute tables also we will try to read using GeoPandas. As I explained, now you can see that as an analogy, this table is like a geodata frame. So this is a geodata frame, and this each particular column, these are the attribute information, and there is one special column that contains the geometry information, like for this particular polygon, what are the different vertices of this polygon. So the geometry information of that particular column, all these features is stored in a different column that is called GeoSeries or geometry column of that data frame. So now let us visualize this particular shape file in Python using GeoPandas. So this is our file name. So first thing we will, for reading a file from GeoPandas, we have imported as GPD. So GPD dot read file. So the first method we need to call read file. So GPD dot read file, and we need to pass the name of file which we want to read. So GPD dot read file, we have passed the name of file. It returns Uttarakhand file. Now let us see how does it look. So Uttarakhand dot head. So this will return initial 10 rows from our tabular geo data frame. So if we see, so Uttarakhand dot head, here I showed you this. This is a full data frame. Like Tehsil is a column inside. These are the attributes: Tehsil, district, and geometry. So this is the geometry information of all the features. So this is the geo series, and this complete is a geo data frame. So Uttarakhand dot head. Like suppose if you want, instead of 5, suppose if you want to see initial 10 tehsil, so Uttarakhand dot head, and then you can pass an argument as number 10. So it returns initial 10 rows from the data frame. So if you pass here at one, you will get single. Now suppose if you want to get CRS information with this particular, so it said EPSG 4326 is the CRS used in this particular vector data file. Now suppose if you want to visualize it. For visualization, this is very simple. So for visualizing vector data is very simple. So just geo data frame, like we have assigned to the variable Uttarakhand dot plot. So it plots the in visual format. So this is very simple. Just Uttarakhand dot plot you call it. The geo data frame gets visualized. Now suppose if you want to subset a geo data frame, like suppose if you want to get like suppose if you want to extract the tehsil which are coming under district Almora. So for that we need to, this can be done using like subset equal to our original data frame. Then inside this we can part Uttarakhand, where district is equal to Almora. So this will return only the rows or features where district is equal to Almora. So if you see this, so this returns only the rows, only the tehsils of district Almora. Now suppose if you want, we plot, so this way we can visualize this way we can subset our data frame on any condition. So like here we have subsetted on the district, so similar way you can subset your data frame depending on different conditions. Different conditionals you can subset your data frame. Now suppose if you want to print a label with every tehsil, so for that we need to call on a function called subset. In subset we need to call a apply function. So apply this so subset dot apply, this will apply this particular function to every feature in the geo series. So subset dot apply, and we are calling annotate function. So this will annotate every tehsil with its name. So now suppose if you see it, now here you can see that every tehsil is got annotated, every polygon got annotated with its name. So similar way you can annotate with any other attribute. Now let us see how do we make, suppose from this vector data we want to make some choropleth map. So we will first reset the index. Now suppose on this Almora, this is our Almora data frame. Sorry for the interruption. This is Almoda. Now suppose if you let us append this to this particular from a new attribute called population. So that will be a random population. We'll first calculate a generate a series with the random populations. So population, if I see this, population, so this got generated. Now this geo series we will attach at a new attribute to our Almoda feature. So now, so that we can assume like Almoda population equal to population. So this attaches a new attribute population to our Almoda data set. So now here we can see that now Almoda has Tehsil district geometry plus population. Now suppose we want to make a choropleth map based on for this Almoda feature. Now suppose if you just plot Almoda dot plot, so it shows this plot. Now suppose if you want to color all these tehsils depend based on their population, so then we can pass another argument to this plot function, that is column equal to population. So this will color or this will make a choropleth map of this Almoda based on the column population. So different populations will be shown in different colors. Now as you can see that there is no legend attached to this image, so we don't know which color represents what population. So suppose now we want to attach a legend to this, then we need to pass another argument, legend equal to true. So if you pass legend equal to true, it will attach a legend to the plot. Here you can see that it has attached a legend to the column. So what color represents what population range. So this way very easily we can make choropleth maps of the vector data using GeoPandas. Similarly, suppose if you want to change the orientation of this particular orientation of this color legend, so then we can pass legend keywords, another argument legend keywords. So there you need to pass argument label, what label you want, because there is no label attached to this. Then there you can pass the arguments label is equal to population by tehsil and orientation horizontal. So now this will appear horizontally. Now here you can see that the legend, the color bar has now it is in horizontal position. So this way we can visualize our vector data. So now let us see that how do we create a shape file. Suppose our data is, we have collected data is in a CSV file. From that CSV file, suppose we want to that CSV file we want to convert to a shape file. Suppose now we have a CSV file that contains weather station locations of weather informations in Uttarakhand. Suppose this is a this is a CSV file containing different weather stations in Uttarakhand, like their station ID, name, and their location information. Now you want to create shape file from this information so that you can visualize this information on the map, so that which station is located, like on the map where it is located. From let us see how do we create a shape file vector from a CSV file. So this is our data file stations.csv. So similar way, the way we have read vector files, so same with pandas we will read a CSV file. So df, first we will read the file into a pandas data frame. So if we see this returns, this is this. So station ID, station name, name of the station, latitude and longitude. So this shows latitude and longitude of the information. So now next we will make a geometry from, we will make a point geometry by combining these latitude and longitude so that it can be visualized on the map. So for that we need to create a geometry column. So first we will create a new geoseries. So geoseries, as I explained, geoseries is a column that contains geometry information. So we will give it a name geometry.column. So geopandas dot geoseries. So we will create a geoseries. So there is a function called points from x comma y. So this will create a point geometry from x and y. So gpd dot points from xy. So to this function we need to pass the argument x value and y value. So x value will be latitude, x value will be longitude, and y value will be latitude. So gpd dot points from xy, this function will, for this will combine latitude and longitude from all the rows in this df data frame. So this will create a geometry column. Now suppose if we see this geom column, so this has created point geometries by combining latitude and longitude from each of the row. Now we'll create a geodata frame. Now this is, we have created a geometry column. Now we will attach other attributes also. So gpd dot geodata frame. So how do we create a geodata frame? Geopandas dot has a method gpd dot geodata frame. So we need to pass here two arguments. First is the data frame. So data frame will contain the attribute information plus geometry is equal to that geometry column. So this will combine these plus a geometry column. So if we see this GDF, so it has, now you can see that all this was our CSV file plus a new geometry column by making a point from by combining latitude and longitude information. So let us see how does it look visually. So if we see it here, you can see that these are the different stations and this is the attribute information attached to this frame. So now we have converted a CSV file to we have converted to a geodata frame. Now we will write it to a shape file. So how do we write to a shape file? So first we need to attach CRS information to it. So we are attaching EPSG4326. So for that gdf.crs function. So gdf.crs equal to plus init EPSG46. This will assign the projection information to this. Now finally, how do we write? So gdf dot to file, data frame dot to file, the name of file. Here it will write to this. So suppose this is already existing. If I delete all these files, so gdf dot to file, so this will because this has some problem here, it is not able to write properly. I will just create once again. So now you can see that a file with a save file has been created. So that save file you can analyze using any any GIS software or even with Python using your own script. So here you can see that a different all different point geometries got created. This is the location of them, and plus you can see the attribute table also. So this way we can create a save file for visualization using GeoPandas. So this was So this was all about reading and writing geospatial data using Python. So similar way we can create other formats. Now this was the just introduction to reading and writing. Now with the help of these different libraries, now you can automate your routine work. Suppose you are in geospatial, you are working in geospatial domain and you are using some GIS softwares for your data processing work. So until now, suppose if you are doing something manually, so with the help of Python, you can automate all of your work very easily. So you need to just learn few basics of Python and continue. So thank you very much for today's session. Now I'll